Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of With the Facts. I'm your host, Sydney Garrett.
And I'm your co-host, James Dinquah.
We hope everyone has had an awesome week. Now let's talk politics.
There are very few aspects in which Georgia is better than North Carolina. North Carolina has better people, better bojangles, better mountains, better beaches, and definitely better basketballs than Georgia.
However, it seems as though this year Georgia has actually outdone NC in regards to voter suppression. This is something we normally wouldn't brag about, but when you're the #1 in the state for something, it's kind of a big deal when someone tries to up and take your crown.
During the early voting period, the state of Georgia has made it so hard for voters to vote, even going as far as rejecting people who have mistakenly misplaced the hyphen in their name. It's so hard and tedious to vote in the state of Georgia that even DMV employers are shocked at how slow the lines are moving.
Georgia Republican Brian Kemp is currently investigating voter suppression within Georgia's Democratic Party, which is the political equivalent of getting a burglar to find out who stole your wallet. Best of luck to Georgia in regards to this election cycle. They're really going to need it.
In other news, many politicians and politics-adjacent people on talk shows have coined this year as the Year of the Woman.
According to Rutgers, there are more than 3,300 women running for general election and 235 women who have won nominations for the House of Representatives. These numbers beat out the previous highs set in 2016. Believe it or not, only half of the women running are actually Hillary Clinton dressed in various different disguises.
Why don't more women run for office? Well, according to Politico, it's largely due to women's self-doubt in their qualification for office. The study found that among college-aged men and women who didn't believe they'd ever be qualified, men were 50% more likely to say that they would run anyways. Shocking, right?
Very. We will now go to our international correspondent, Jack Kessler, for some insight into current political issues in Germany.
After 13 years in power, Angela Merkel, German chancellor since 2005 and one of the most powerful figures in European politics, has announced that she will abdicate from her position of power in the near future. In a speech delivered on October 19th, Chancellor Merkel laid out a plan whereby she would surrender her leadership of the Christian Democratic Union Party next month, before stepping down as chancellor in 2021 at the end of her 4th term. This decision comes after a series of political failures, low polling popularity, and massive losses in state legislatures. This all came to a head during the regional elections of the German state of Hesse, which saw the CDU gain only 27% of the vote, an 11% decrease from the previous election. Due to the ongoing coalition with their primary rival, the Social Democratic Party, the CDU was able to stay in power, but the results showed how disconnected the CDU voters felt from their chancellor. Many of them felt as though they were being ignored by the politicians in Berlin. It is no mistake, then, that only a day after this election, Merkel announced her resignation. In the wake of Merkel's resignation speech, a struggle has already begun within the CDU as to who will follow one of the most enduring political operators of the last 2 decades. So far, 3 candidates have come forward. The first, Friedrich Merz, is a socially conservative businessman who was an early rival of Merkel in the 2000s. Next is Jens Spahn, the current Minister of Health, who's been a critic of Merkel's refugee policy and has been building ties with President Trump through the U.S. ambassador to Germany. Finally, there is Merkel's choice, Annegret Kramp-Karrenbauer, the current party general secretary, who has yet to emerge as a political force beyond her connection to Merkel. Whoever the final choice may be, Merkel's abdication of power is sure to spell the end of an era in both German and European politics. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Jack, and thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm your host, Sydney Garrett.
And I'm your co-host, James Dinquah.
We'll see you next week.